Pakistan is developing tactical nuclear weapons. Only 3 countries have ever developed tactical nuclear weapons: the United States, Russia, and China. Pakistan has a history of proliferating its nuclear technology around the world. The Iranian nuclear program was born in Pakistan. The North Korean nuclear program has Pakistani origins. Pakistan sold a nuclear weapons kit to Libya in the 1990s. Nuclear war and nuclear peace. If there's any place in the world more likely to be the scene of nuclear war in our lifetime, it is South Asia and a war between India and Pakistan. They've come perilously close several times already. If you were a betting man, this is the place you would put your money down for where the nuclear Armageddon will happen. Islam and democracy. Pakistan has had 4 military dictators in its 63 years as a country. It has had a revolving door of attempts at democracy, followed by military coups and the imposition of military regimes. You have to believe in the triumph of hope over experience to believe that democracy will ultimately flourish in Pakistan. But the Pakistani people do believe in hope over experience, and I'll come back to that later on. In this 2011, the year of the Arab awakening, Pakistan is an interesting case study in whether Islamic countries can produce functioning democracies. Pakistan today is the 2nd largest Muslim country in the world. Within a decade, it will be the largest Muslim country in the world, surpassing Indonesia. It is the 6th largest country in the world in terms of population today. It will be the 5th largest country. It has roughly 180 million people today. If there is no change in fertility rates, by 2050 there will be 460 million Pakistanis. Assuming a modest reduction in fertility rates, there will be 335 million Pakistanis by 2050. And last but not least, Pakistan is critical to the longest war in American history, the war in Afghanistan. Pakistan plays a unique role. It controls the logistical supply line of both sides in this war. The Afghan Taliban, of course, have their sanctuary, their headquarters in Pakistan. That's where they recruit. That's where they regroup after they fight NATO forces in Afghanistan. We also have our supply lines in Pakistan. More than half of everything American and NATO soldiers eat, drink, and shoot arrives through the Pakistani port of Karachi. And there really is no other way to get it there. His nickname in Pakistan is Mr. 10%. It's an outright lie. He never got less than 15% on any contracts. But even crooks can sometimes figure out what the right thing to do is. This guy wants to make money. And he recognizes that endless war and endless support for terrorism is not good for business. His great political rival, Nawaz Sharif, who I know very well, is a pretty dull guy. He's not the brightest light bulb I ever met. But he's interested in making money too. He's the biggest steel magnate in the country. He builds most of the highways in the country. He's interested in being a robber baron. Okay? Well, I'll take a robber baron today over a warlord. The big problem is the military. My friend and colleague Steve Cole, who wrote the very great book Ghost Wars, likes to say the problem with the Pakistani military is that they think they're the smartest strategists in the world, and they're among the worst strategists in the world. They come up with strategies which are just lousy. Proof? They've lost every war they've fought. These guys think they're more clever than we are. And they have led their country into one disastrous adventure after another. The reason Pakistan is no longer the unified country it was of East and West Pakistan, and there's an independent Bangladesh, is because of the stupidity of the Pakistani generals. But they think they're smart. And as I said, I think our big problem now is containing their worst excesses and trying to help those civilian forces in Pakistan who want a healthy civil-military relationship gain enough influence to prevent those worst excesses from going forward. It's a difficult balance to achieve. I'm glad I'm not the U.S. ambassador in Pakistan. It's a tough balance to achieve, but I think that's the best way to go forward. The question is, our development aid projects in Afghanistan and their relationship to our strategic objectives, and how much should our aid be a function of more narrow, I think is your question, more narrow foreign policy objectives versus trying to help alleviate poverty, say, for example, in Pakistan. Truth in advertising. One of my proteges runs the U.S. aid project in Afghanistan and Pakistan today. He was an intern for me in the 1990s. See, they're all not all the interns in the Clinton administration turned out to be world famous. He now runs a $4 billion aid program in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Way too much of that aid is squandered inside the Beltway with different contractors. Way too much of that aid ends up going into creating a large footprint of Americans working in Afghanistan and Pakistan. I said earlier, I prefer trade, not aid. That is not to say that what my protege is doing is wrong. I'm all for it. And I hope we could do more of what you're talking about, poverty alleviation. But it's hard to do. It is very hard to do. It's hard to come up with programs that really help average Afghans and Pakistanis. In the case of Pakistan, I think we're much better off with tariff reform, as I suggested, and letting the Pakistani economy grow because they sell products in the United States of America. The last reason I'm for it is simple. We're broke. Come on, we are broke. We can't afford this. In a nice world, I'd love to continue to provide $1.5 billion in economic assistance to Pakistan, but I'd rather they did something about road construction in Northern Virginia, frankly. I'd rather they got jobs in Alexandria. We just can't afford this. But tariff reduction is something we can afford, and it's something that could actually respond to what Pakistanis have been saying to us. As I said earlier, for 40 years they've been asking us for this. And Republicans and Democrats have said no. I made a run at it in the Strategic Review 2 years ago. My friend Richard Holbrooke, who I admire very much, told me, forget it. Ain't going to happen. Just not going to happen. Free trade is not a democratic issue. Okay, I'm still trying. The question is, the Pakistanis have denied any role in, any complicity in the hiding of Osama bin Laden. Is that believable? I don't know whether they hid or whether they were complicit. What I did after the 1st of May was a little research on what I thought was a very simple subject. Who was in charge in this place, Abbottabad? Who is the commander in the field? And I'll tell you the results of my research, and then you can decide. You can make your own judgment. The commander of the Kabul Military Academy in 2005 until 2007 was a Pakistani general named Nadim Taj, Taj like in Taj Mahal. Nadim Taj is a very interesting Pakistani general. In 1999, Prime Minister Sharif fired then Chief of Army Staff General Musharraf while he was flying back from Sri Lanka on an airplane to return to Pakistan. General Musharraf refused to be fired, and he turned to his aide-de-camp on the airplane, Nadim Taj, who organized a counter-coup and who put Musharraf into power. In other words, Mr. Taj has impeccable relations with the Pakistani military dictator, General Pervez Musharraf. He was rewarded with a number of assignments, and in 2005 he was made Commandant of the Kabul Military Academy, which means he was the man in charge when Osama bin Laden moved into that hideout. In 2007, Mr. Taj was promoted he became Director General of the Inter-Services Intelligence Directorate, the ISI. He only lasted in that job for a year, which is very, very unusual. In that year, we began drone operations over Pakistan. When we began drone operations over Pakistan, it was the policy of the United States government to notify the ISI in advance of strikes. Every single strike in 2007, the target wasn't there. Every single one. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to put that one together. The Indian embassy in Kabul was attacked by the Haqqani network with the support of the ISI. Mrs. Bhutto was murdered, and the crime scene was washed down literally by the ISI 30 minutes afterwards. You don't have to believe in crime scenes investigations to know you don't wash down a crime scene 30 minutes after that's kind of bad for the forensics. And the plot in Mumbai was developed. In August of 2008, National Security Advisor Steve Hadley called in the Pakistani ambassador and said, there is something rotten in the ISI and we want you to fix it. We want Nadeem Taj out. And he was promoted. A few weeks later, he became a corps commander in the Pakistani Army, which is the most senior position you can have in the Pakistani Army. It's the functional equivalent of being CENTCOM or SAC-YOR in our military. What does this prove? Well, in a court of law, it wouldn't prove anything. It's all circumstantial evidence. I think it builds a pretty strong case. The right man in the right place, and we have a pretty good idea whose sympathies he had. But I can't prove it. It's all circumstantial evidence. Since May, nobody can find Nadeem Taj. Can't find him. I've got journalists from around the world trying to find them. I've told this story to the New York Times, the Washington Post, Der Spiegel, Agence France Presse, the BBC, the London Sunday Times, you name it. I've all said, go find him. So far they can't find him. He's gone to ground. So, clueless or complicit? I don't know the answer, but I have a big question mark in my mind, and I think I know the person who knows the answer to that question. The question is, given Pakistan's support for groups like the Haqqani network, what's the essence of the debate within Washington over what to do about it? I'll answer this question this way. Admiral Mullen, who I think very highly of, went to Pakistan 28 times as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff because he passionately believed that engagement was the best course with Pakistan. Admiral Mullen's not a dummy. He knew what the Pakistanis had been up to. He didn't get religion a week ago, believe me. I've spent a lot of time with the Admiral. I spent a lot of time with the Admiral 3 years ago. He knew what they were up to, but he believed that we should try to see if we could reach strategic understanding with them. I applaud his persistence, and I applaud what he said. And I think he's right, we still do need engagement. But I think we need to introduce accountability into this. And that's where I go back to what I said about if we come to the conclusion that a Pakistani colonel or general is engaged in supporting the Haqqani network, and we can identify the individuals, we go after the individuals. I'm not big into sanctioning the country or entities. I'm into making it personal. I recognize that that's not going to be pleasant. But I think we need to make it personal, to make it accountable. The other virtue of making it personal and accountable is that it gives them an out. We can live with the fiction at the end of the day that, oh, it was that bad guy. Naughty, naughty. We did this already with Pakistan once, with A.Q. Khan. We pretended that A.Q. Khan was a nuclear pirate who operated all by himself. Okay, the pretense was useful because we put his international proliferation network out of business and we retired him. We gave the Pakistanis a way to deal with something. A.Q. Khan didn't send nuclear spare parts to Libya on a Pakistani Air Force jet all by himself. You can't do that. You can't arrange a flight of the Pakistani Air Force on eBay or through Expedia. But it was a useful fiction. My point about making it personal is I think it introduces accountability. It makes people think long and hard about what they want to do, and it also gives them a way out if they want to do the right thing. I don't guarantee results, but I think it's the best way to make the Pakistani generals start rethinking what they're doing.